Here in Houston, Texas, at Texas Online, it's Dana Loesch. Dana, it is good to see you, as always.
Yes, thank you, Cameron. I appreciate it. It's good to see you here.
So I was talking, our camera woman, Julie, is here from here in Texas. You just moved to Texas, and she told me something very interesting. She said 20 years ago, Texas schools stopped teaching civics. And I know that's got to drive you batty.
Yeah, it does. I think, I don't know if it's just Texas schools. I think so many schools have stopped teaching civics, and we homeschool and we're transitioning to a Christian school. And because our kids are like, oh, you know, they get to 7th grade, they can choose. And in talking with a lot of these educators, that's, you know, one of the things that I ask them is, well, what do you teach about civics? What do you teach? How do you stand up on Common Core? What do you know, all of these other issues. And I walked out of 2 different schools, like in mid-conversation, because I just don't want to waste my time with it. But yeah, I mean, a lot of schools, it's not just that they're not teaching civics, it's that children now are being penalized for even engaging in civics. You set up a lemonade stand and you have the popo descending up on you. Where is your license, 8-year-old little girl? Where you need a license for your lemonade, you need a license for your cookies. It's just ridiculous. Kids are it's gotten to where it's the other extreme now. We penalize them for just even participating.
You know, of course, you addressed this crowd here at Texas Online. You talked about Grassroots, and you talked about how you started. And when we think about media shield laws, and we think about Just a Blogger, we think about Real Reporters, and we think about what's going on right now, in terms of getting messages out, talk about what you said to this crowd about how you started and how other people, I mean, you're Dana Loesch now, but you were Dana Loesch then, and you've become what you've become by getting messages out there. How do people follow your footsteps?
You know, by being tenacious and by you kind of have to be willing to put up with a lot of crap, you know, because I've been doing this since the 90s, and not a lot of people know about that. Even before the Tea Party, I was doing television, I was doing radio. I had a website that I edited. I edited a print alternative weekly magazine in St. Louis. So it's, I've done it for a long time, and I've learned a lot doing it. And one of the things that I realize is that there's no such thing as an objective media. You just have to hold yourself to doing a good job telling the story, doing a good job gathering facts, doing your due diligence to informing somebody. Because everybody's prejudiced or in terms of issues, everybody's partisan in terms of candidates that they support and parties that they support. I mean, it's never going to change. Ben Franklin, when he started the Pennsylvania Gazette, he had Alice Addertongue and Silence Dogood and all of these names under which he would attack politicians. He would attack the crown. It started as a propaganda machine. We just have to realize that. And I think that's the first step in admitting you have a problem. No, it's the first step in really being able to, I think, kind of free yourself to just saying, you know what, my goal here is informing someone. I'm going to inform, and I'm going to do a good job gathering the facts and do my due diligence to my reader. And that's really, and it took me about 5 years to learn that, but that's really ultimately what it is.
You know, of course, you have your platforms on Radio America, on the Blaze, and you're on different shows and here and there. But for someone just watching this and just, a school board issue in their town or a local gun ordinance in their city, how do you get people? What do you do to get someone to actually be an active participant in their where they live in their society?
I've noticed that to get people to be active participants, people like conservatives love credit. They do. They love credit. They love getting attention for stuff. They love, if it's their video, by damn, you better leave their watermark on that video. And I don't have any problem with that. If there's something coming up, if it's, like in Texas, they're having hearings on open carry, or, if it's a school board issue, you see all of these videos of these parents going to school boards and they record what's happening. Everybody has a phone. Everybody's smartphone has a camera on it. Become a citizen journalist. And, you mentioned media shield law as well. This is the exact reason why you have people trying to push this media shield law, which is anything but a shield law. It's a media control law. They want to be able to stop these people from engaging in public journalism, from being able to tell the stories of their community, from being able to just flick on the camera on their phone and say, this is what's happening in my school board meeting. Kind of nuts, right? That's where we get all this amazing viral footage anyway. It's just regular citizens who notice something is up in their local government, and they press record. They open up the camera app and they press record, and that's where it comes from. And that's why they want that media shield law. People like Chuck Schumer desperately want to be able to decide who is or who is not a journalist. So that's really ultimately how they can get involved, how they can spread the message. they have to go to these things first. They have to get out from behind their keyboard and drive to these things and go to these things, and then document it for their. Maybe a couple of the hearings will be really boring, but from what I have seen, bar none, at least one of them are going to be real interesting. You're going to get something out of it, and that's what we need people to be there for, is to capture that moment.
You talk about open carry here in Texas. Of course, Shannon Watts, I think we're probably her most hated organization. I would say you're probably her most hated actual person. You and Shannon Watts going back and forth is becoming actually kind of legendary. When every town and when they send press releases about Sonic and Chili's and Starbucks and Jack in the Box banning guns and Chipotle, when they actually didn't ban guns, the companies, they're allowed to, of course, and if they want them, that's their call. But they didn't. They say we prefer, and they couch their language. Yeah. But for them to send out these press releases, is it a sign of desperation that they need anything possible to take credit for?
It is a sign of desperation, and it's, they'll send out these press releases because they're sort of greasing the squeaky wheel. I don't understand why people are so eager to give Bloomberg a victory that he hasn't earned. He hasn't earned this victory. There was a listener who emailed Chipotle, and Chipotle's official spokes whatever sent this email back. I published it on my website, danaradio.com. They said, quote, "This is not a ban." They're not barring anybody from carrying into their establishment. And in Texas, I realize, it's, Texas, the concealed carry is a little bit more difficult to get than in other states. But how are you going to know that somebody's concealed carry? Are they going to put metal detectors up at these establishments now? Are they going to start frisking people before they enter them? It's not a ban, and nobody actually knows. There's no, but they can't. I don't get this. I do get this group, and I don't get this group. What I don't get is why anybody would spend $50 million on nothing. They can't affect change nationally. Gun control is dead nationally. So, and they know that they don't. If it's dead nationally, it's dead locally as well. They're trying so hard to sort of gauge where local lawmakers stand on issues. They can't have a legislative victory. So what's the best way, Cameron, to go and have legislative victory in your state? Let's go after the fast food restaurants. These poor people just want to make sandwiches. Right. They want to make sandwiches, and they want this shrieking woman out of their faces so they can get their jobs done and go home at the end of the day. That's all these people want. And their hashtags, I can't even keep up with them anymore. I can't. I mean,
it's blank, not blank, depending on the restaurant.
Yeah, it's food item, not guns, right. Or food item, not whatever. And then they went after Home Depot. What is it today? Grills, not guns, okay. Right? That's stupid. That's just, it's cheesy. It's cheesy, and I just don't. It's ridiculous.
And the other thing, too, is when you went to Indianapolis, when the NRA had our annual meeting there, you went to the park where she was, and the video of the armed guards, the many of them, and the New York plated SUV. And then the most amazing thing I thought were the tweets from the spokeswoman, pretty much saying what Wayne LaPierre has always said: the only way to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. Right. That's pretty much what the spokeswoman said on Twitter. Absolutely. Why is it bad if the NRA says it, but if they say it, it's okay? Like, we just want what you want.
Erica Soto-Lamb, who is the spokeswoman for Everytown, said, I mean, verbatim, basically what Wayne LaPierre has said is that I don't know what, you're right, I don't know what makes it different, but he was armed. When we went there to that park that day, in a public park, I went there and I could see her security guards. They eyed me up as soon as they saw me. I was smiling. I had non-threatening body language. I was situationally aware. I knew what was happening. And she immediately was just rude. And so then they had their guards come in. And I mean, they shoved me. They ran into me. And you can see it on camera too. They cut in front of me. They would do this. And I could see the holster on the side. The jacket was stuck out because he kept putting his hands behind his back, or on his back like this. And when I asked, just because I knew what I saw, and I wanted to just get a confirmation from them in writing, and that's when Erica Soto-Lamb said, well, yes, we do have armed guards because we have to. I'm like, you really? So wait a minute. So you can carry to protect yourself, but I can't carry. You guys are actually pro-gun. You actually like the NRA. Just say it. Just say that you do, because you agree with them right now, and the laws that you're enjoying right now, the freedoms that you're enjoying right now to be able to carry that to protect yourselves, are freedoms that this group has fought for, that the NRA has fought for. So why don't you thank them?
You know, going back to media shield laws and press coverage, the one thing that they have that, of course, that their advantage is some of the articles that you see about the bans on guns. Like, we saw one article in Newsday. The actual title of the article was blah, 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 bans guns. And then in the body of the article, it says, spokesman says it's not actually a ban. So people scan. There's so much media right now. People can't digest it all. But the headlines are they get what they want in the news. So this is why your message and messages from people in the grassroots is so important to get out there.
Yeah, they don't. It's like they want the appearance of a victory without having to really do the work of getting the victory. I mean, Staples threw them out of their headquarters when they showed up with petitions one day. They threw Mom's Demand out because Staples wasn't having any part of that drama. And all of these other, you don't sit here and get fast food businesses involved with policy. You take that to lawmakers, but they've already failed nationally. They're failing locally. They know they're not going to get any ground on it in Texas, but they think that if they get this momentum of well, look at these fast food restaurants, that's somehow going to affect or influence a lawmaker. That's the only thing that I can conclude out of all of this. But you're right. They're not banning. Nobody's banned anything, and I'm not going to jump down a company's throat for just trying to shut these women up. I would want to shut them up too if I were a business and get back to employing people and making food and burritos and selling grills. I don't, but they want the appearance of victory so that they can say they're doing something. It's all about, well, look what we're doing. It's like that their empty hashtag activism rhetoric. Well, look, we put a hashtag out there. Look, we're doing something. Well, that's one part of it, but where's the result? Where's the action that's going to get you your conclusion that you want? It's not there. It doesn't exist. We have to stop giving these people victories that they haven't earned, because when we do that, we're giving something up of ours in the process.
Last question. You talk about these companies, they just want to do their jobs. They don't want to get drawn into these debates. But I think you'll agree that sometimes their statements piss off more people than, because you get them. It's so confusing. You make both sides don't get what they want. It's so amorphous. You've tried to get clarification. We've tried to get clarification on these statements, and they don't give it to you. So sometimes it's almost worse what they're doing.
The best response that they should have is, we don't decide policy, and just keep it at that. And these women, I mean, they're a fringe extremist group. I mean, Bloomberg's group, he's an extremist anti-Second Amendment advocate. Mom's Demand, these are extremists. The majority of America does not support what they do, because if they did, gun control would have passed every single time. It's like, every spring when the baby animals come up, it's like a cycle. Every season, Dianne Feinstein puts a bunch of black rifles that she thinks are shootier because they're black on some kind of white particle board, holds it up in front of an assembled press, and she has her assault weapons ban press conference. You can track your seasons by this press conference that Dianne Feinstein has. It always fails. Every single time they push this, every single time they have a press conference, it fails. Connecticut gun sales increased. Permits increased. More and more women are getting concealed carry and are purchasing firearms. Gun manufacturers are taking notice. It has not only failed legislatively, it's failed culturally, it's failed in manufacture, it's failed in every single facet of firearm ownership that these people have tried to curtail it. And so I don't want to give them any victories. I don't want to give them any ground that they haven't earned. I want to make them work. If they're going to try to come and take my rights, I'm going to make them work to do it. They're still not going to win, but they'll be tired after.
Dana, you got the radio show, you got the Blaze show with Glenn Beck, you got so much going on. What's the best way to find out how to listen to you, watch you, and where's the compendium of all your stuff?
DanaRadio.com. Just go there.
Dana, good to see you as always.
You too, Cameron. Thank you.